Hi, I'm a geologist and quarryman, and I'm going to explain what's going on with this Chinese glassworks. It's not volcanic glass, as they say, it's not obsidian, it's slag glass, as you can see from the initial picture. Its form was one giant ingot shape, and obsidian naturally is jet black in color, but there are a few different derivatives, variations. You have mahogany obsidian, which is brown and black, and you have snowflake obsidian, as they call it in the gem trade or jeweler's trade, where it has flecks of white crystal growths. There's lecitellurite, which I bought as a blue, so-called volcanic, but again it seems to be slag. Mexico, and even ancient Mexico, has and had a beautiful rare rainbow obsidian, which is iridescent, looks like the sheen of oil on water. Medieval church stained glass windows, when colored red, had gold inside it, but this red color here can't be gold, that would be too expensive. This glass is brittle and it's probably too soft for tabletops. You can see by the waste heap they'll probably remelt that into another slag. So all that is needed to make it is different chemicals, ingredients for the glass, silicon dioxide from sand, throw in a few metals, add flux at the right temperature, then get down to polishing it with other various natural abrasives. The white powder you see is called rock flour or silica dust, and those small silica particles will get into the lungs and eventually kill them with silicosis, that or other carcinogens. The next unlabeled part has nothing to do with the glassworks in China. It's actually a salt mine in Afghanistan to Pakistan border. They call it pink Himalayan rock salt, which can be edible if you stay clear of the poisonous metals that can be inside, so it does have to be laboratory tested. Halite is naturally a very soft rock, and it forms in a salt diaper or salt dome, which they are mining in a mountain. And as you can see, they are using tractors, which is a sufficient use of energy, and you can see they are selling some of these samples their own market, so they have the symbols of Mecca and Allah. Those who work in the salt industry in the East do suffer from hypersaline illnesses, which is easily remediated if only they have basic medical attention. The tools they're using, again without a safety guard, will practically last forever. As opposed to the Chinese video, their huge saw would cost 50,000 euros. That's the blade alone. If you'd like anything else explained, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm an environmental and geological engineer who specialized in desktop studies and cartography, meaning a forte in mapping the surrounding of the rocks we live with, plus then past, present and future use of a site. When applied to water, the number one necessity of life, humans and beavers dam water to harness its flow and make use of it. It's just that humans are corrupt, so don't care about the ecosystem, hydrological cycles, or human settlements if it interferes with profit, especially hydroelectric dams. One can read the clashes around the world whenever any of our 4 billion people struggle with potable water at least once per month. But the data about people displaced due to waterworks have been removed by the elite, who don't want people to know the fair truth. The alternative, like in India, have ancient stone reservoirs, built like inverted temples, collecting and storing monsoon water so that it can be used by everyone the whole year. But many of these have been forgotten about over the millennia of attempted invasions. The technology lost, so is unrepeated. Plus one Delhi River, for example, snaked 60 kilometers in the past 4,000 years, plus another 40 kilometers for its southern tail. This multi-video mosaic windows some catastrophic failures of dams from 2009 Russia, then 2015 to present, all over the world like America, Brazil and China. Why do they fail? Multiple reasons. The top left showing the aftermath and modelling of just one screw failure, dominoing one turbine failure, then another, each successive collapse. The mechanical energy involved is monstrous, but is never a match for nature and its natural properties to wear away rock, for its law to reach the sea. Most dams in the world are too old because they were made after World War II, particularly 1950 to 1985, and they only had a lifespan of 50 years. Some were designed badly, some are deemed too expensive to fortify, some dams are sabotaged with explosives, despite against the rules of war, some made by cutting corners or have human vigilance error, and some can't cope with extra brunts of nature like earthquakes, tsunamis, storms, invasive growth, microgeology like silt and clay blockages, or macrogeology with soil, mud and rock slides. I attached this video to a short about the Malana Dam gate failure. It caused the loss of 40 lives at least. The worst known was China in 1975, with 171,000 lives lost and 11 million homes destroyed. You can see a Chinese dam breach and a slow engineering vehicle blocking the escape of 2 workers. Anyway, they all seem to be driving downstream to their ruin. It's like a tree falling. You should run at an angle away from it, not try to outrun its peak. So these people were better to run up the hill at the side of the building. Sirens should wail in every village downstream. Water around the world is misused. Pipes left to leak, structure left to rot and be contaminated, while micro-hydroelectric should be implemented because it doesn't harm the ecology, it's cheap, easy to maintain and gives energy. Reservoirs should be covered with floating solar panels, guarding evaporation but guarded from storms that could damage them. If too dangerous in area, black floating balls retain vital water for people who shouldn't have to drink uranium or feces-laden water. Brackish and saline water should be desalinated with solar, tidal and or geothermal power, and microclimate brought back by putting back what was robbed from nature, like sand dunes and woodland. Tell the world in the comments what your local dam means to you.
And this material is not.
Scriptural gold is much older than mere thousands of years. It is eternal as the Vedas, and cyclical as geological process. Irania gold in Manusmrti 2.246 makes it 2 billion years old, and as appears in Valmiki Ramayana, it endures 17 million years. Bhagavad Gita, sung by Krishna over 5,100 years ago, is further explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, quoting specific gold experts as part of the 7th canto and 7th chapter being the science of Deva. Prabhupada called these experts, as we call them today, geologists and mineralogists. The Hemakara, who knows about the in situ gravasu gold in the gravel within gold mines, as well as the Tat Abhignya, the expert who knows where gold is by various process and very easily obtains Svarnam gold. Obtaining gold today is not plain sailing. It is only economically viable at 2.5 grams per ton of soil or rock because crushing quartz or gold ores is expensive. And processing then can be deadly to the environment and humans, merged with mercury and arsenic, melting with the likes of aqua regia acid, or smelting with thousands of degrees Celsius. Either way, it's a lot of dangerous energy to free or separate gold, unless nature has weathered it for us to the surface and millions of years of erosional action. The Bhagavad Gita itself twice concerns 6.8 and 14.22 to 25 Ganyakanam as mined gold. Ganyakanam being the best of metals, that one of the symptoms of transcending the 3 modes of nature is seeing gold the same as any rock or soil. Spiritually stressed again here. From the learned Sanskrit dictionary there are 1,000 entries for gold, which means gold has hundreds of properties, attributes, and sacred uses. As a forewarning, economist S. Deodar, writing for the government of India, is a scholarly professor, not a spiritual commentator, so he draws together the following from many colonialist biases of sacred text, but they do relate to geography and geology. Starting with the Rigveda 10.758 notes, the river Hiranya, that's Sindhu or Indus River, contains Hiranya gold. 8.26.28. Its Hiranya Vartani path contains gold. Commentator Sayana adding, Hiran Mayobayakula, both banks contain gold. Then Tucci in 1977 reported, Manasarovar and Thokjalyug, source of the Sindhu, contains alluvial placer gold deposits. As for Haranya and Haranyam gold in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto mentions gold given to Brahmans at the birth of Emperor Parikshit. Cows are given and actually were adorned in more gold themselves. Third canto holds Ananta Naga having thousands of golden kirita helmets, as well as Vrindavana having Rajatam gold coins. In the fourth canto, a Rashanam gold chain was so strong it held a horse. In canto 6, one of Chitraketu's millions of wives bore his son, so he donated 600 million cows with gold rukma being plated horns and also silver Rajatam. Canto 9, King Ambarisa donates the same number of cows. This canto also reveals gold couldn't ease King Yayati's lust. Twice in the 10th canto, King Naruga is mentioned donating Hiranya gold and Rupya silver, meaning the Varat rupee is super ancient because Naruga was yet to be released by Krishna in his next life, saved from a well as a lizard. Cowherders donated cows after Krishna's father was saved. One last donating reference is in the 11th canto, while Krishna explains he is like gold, ever present at every stage. Finally, the 12th canto, in the same vein, explains he should not be perceived as mundane utility. So the Anno Domini 958 text from Kotani's Saka from Gilgit to Chilas is being factual, not poetic to say, Sindhu is, Isar Nijitaji, Golden River. Gold from Ganga is Gengaya. Gold from Jambu is Jambunanda or Jambunada Hema, which, when explained by the Titania Madhya Lila, it doesn't exist for human Mahabharata, however, gold presented to King Yudhishthira was Pipilika, ants gold, because it was obtained from auriferous anthills, gold in powdered form but high purity, while an example of allegory to obtain gold from dust was written in the Pali Anguttara Nikaya. Kautilya's Artha Shastra described Rasavidya, natural liquids dissolved gold, obtained from cementation as a ratio of 1 pala gold per 100 palas of silver, or copper, produced which is pure in comparison to other bismuth, lead, and platinum group metal natural impurities. Kalidas recognized Kanaka Rasa as a second type of gold solution, while the Gandha Vyuha Sutra shows a third type, Hataka Prabhasa, which I'll explain more shortly. Process, melting more lead captured several metals, while salty soil from Sindhu separated silver chloride, and he knew thin sheets were favorable. This was a lost secret to Lydian gold in Anatolia, so they yielded less. Back to the third type. Below the hell of Atala, Vitala is where Hataki gold is produced from aeolionated fire and worn by great Adavan demons. Hara, Lord Shiva, here is the master of gold mines. In the same vein, straddling millions of different years, Hema gold-covered windows are filigree, the same as Kartasvara. Hema being arm bangle, ornament, water pot, ankle bell, palace dome flag and pinnacle, gate, garland, throne, and even UFO called Vimana. Kanaka gold were worn by Mohini as ankle bells and earrings, but Kanaka also exists as Mikalaya belt, necklace, and chariot. I'll show one more synonym, Suvarnera, additionally in the form of foot and hand bangles, golden conch, anklet, armlet, and gold coins called Rajata Mudra, which may give a clue to identify a Puranic time period by its currency, plus rope, embroidery, and Purata armor covered with gold. Noting Adavan demon Namuchi injured Indra with gold feathered arrows. So one day, the next video would be interesting to study silver raupiam, which became the rupee again and again over a surprising amount of the world over millennia. I bought this beautiful specimen 22 years ago from a mineral shop in the Dutch city of Gouda. I think I recall it was born in Tsumeb, Namibia, certainly from a mine that exhausted its unique color. This side probably matches the same color that the first discoverer found, because he called the first sample brown lead in 1810. Andrés Manuel del Rio, analytical chemist and metallurgist, was right about the brown lead content, as its ingredients start with 5 lead atoms, though its element vanadium was not discovered until 29 years later. So before 1830, it was thought that these crystals contained chromium. Actually, any amateur can pick this up blindfolded and guess it's a lead weight, unless they felt barytes crystals, which are literally named heavy, so used in heavy cement. But this vanadanite is a lot heavier. To visualize specific gravity with the aid of bizarre free artificial intelligence, imagine making parts of this specimen into perfect 1 centimeter cubes, or die, the singular of dice. Depending on impurities, each would weigh 7 grams, yet the barytes only 4.5 grams. This specimen often grows in arid conditions as lead ore oxidizes, so it's a secondary mineral, which I would call this black layer, measured in the micrometers, to be the base of the growth medium. Vanadanite, already uncommon, lends this piece an extra rarity for its colors. To my naked eye, I can't see a single crack, instead just naturally uneven as it's intergrew with sporadic microcrystals. The top probably a smattering of barytes, but it resembles glistening granulated sugar rather than the usual tabular crystals. It hasn't the best transparency, but at least it has some, enough pixel light beams to beguile. If you squint, you can see it has an overall heart-shaped, great as a Valentine gift if you like slightly toxic minerals that can be scratched with copper, half joking aside. You can see why on mindat.org I've been using it since the beginning of my geology degree. You can scroll down all the scientific information. Lovely birefringence chart. Click each crystal that can be seen within different varieties of vanadanite. Even 3D models, so you can look at the atomic level. The smaller the crystals are, the more perfect they are. Small is beautiful. You can pick up vanadanite in many parts of the world. Not necessarily the color you want. It could be brown, dusky yellow, even green, depending on its impurities. An example on Etsy Market. These are the prices, as you can see, Great British pounds, up to 400, as low as just £6 for a single,
Why do we concern
relatively
ourselves with its
larger
atomic
crystal.
ingredients? Isn't the vanadium useful enough for chromed steel and its lead for protection against nuclear radioactivity? The nanoworld is utilized now, and delve smaller, you'll see the picoworld too, to angstrom units.
Why do we disregard sun rays passing through jewelry, the beneficial effects of applying organic sunscreen, whereas we use crystals for ultrasound, X-rays, radiotherapy, and corundum family lasers, piezoelectric, to digestion? So we apply crystals to save our lives. This Professor Dr. Yanis G. Valais, his last name, by a nice coincidence, contains the name Vala. Vala agreeing to be sacrificed, turning into the Earth's valuable diamonds, rubies, and sapphires. Lesser specimens found in mines and terrestrial rivers. Many global cultures have their mineral origin from a giant. Gigantic comes from Jagannath. Vikings used Jotun. Of Ymir's flesh was earth created, of his blood the sea, of his bones the hills. Another nice coincidence is that the name Vanadium comes from Vanadis, an origin name of Freya, who cried red gold for Odin. She was a great magician who was first exchanged as a prisoner of war during the Battle of the Van versus Odin of Asaland. We still use Woden's Day and Freya Day.